and Indonesian police have detained 3 people on suspicion of being behind the Jakarta attacks. Police say they are still searching for members of a group linked with Daesh. An Indonesian national, Bahru Naim, is believed to have coordinated the attack. Well, let's get some more on this story from George Martin in London. He's a Southeast Asian security and political risk analyst for AKE International. George, good to speak to you this morning. Mr. Naim believed to have been the coordinator of the attack and is now in Syria. How much do we know about this man and his ambitions?
I think information is relatively limited at the moment, and it's probably a bit too early to speculate, but we do know that he came from the centre of the island of Java, from Solo, which is a town which is a notable hotbed for extremism, and a lot of people who've involved in jihadism in Indonesia in recent years have come from religious schools in that area. So it's quite early. It's quite early to make any assumptions yet. But he was clearly linked to it in quite some significant way.
And George, just tell us a little bit about Daesh's reach within Indonesia.
I think people can overstate it sometimes. Indonesia is, broadly speaking, a moderate Muslim country, and it's very far from being the Middle East. And I think what the recent attack told us in many ways was that the security force is actually quite strong and quite good at maintaining the threat, because it was quite limited in the actual impact that it had on the centre of the city. The number of casualties was quite low. The police responded very quickly, and I think the technical capabilities of the group has significantly declined in recent years, of jihadists in general. And I think that was really seen in the most recent attack. They struggled to make much of an impact, although they did achieve one of their big aims of creating a lot of publicity. So it's kind of a mixed bag in terms of the outcomes of that.
And it is a case of them trying to get publicity, and as you're right in saying that it was not the most successful of attacks from their point of view. Do you think we're going to see a change in tactics from people like this within the Southeast Asia?
Yeah, I think this is the first example, or the first main example, of a change in tactics from Southeast Asian jihadists. In the past, obviously, if you look at the wave of attacks that hit Indonesia in the last 15 years or so, they were mostly large bombs. A lot more technical capability was behind them, big 1-ton car bombs in 2004 in Jakarta and the Australian embassy, then infiltration into hotels through employees in the 2009 attacks, and then obviously the Bali attacks were huge truck bombs. So I think the bomb-making skills and that logistical capability has declined in recent years in the face of a strong crackdown from the counter-terrorist forces, most clearly the notorious Detachment 88. So I think this is the new normal for attacks, similar to the Paris attacks, where it's quite low-tech. Broader level of logistical capability, but they don't really know how to make explosives as much as they used to, I think, because the security forces in Indonesia and the Philippines and Malaysia, they've received a lot of US funding and US support, and they've really been able to clamp down on these networks. So there's still a limited amount of support on the fringes of Indonesian and the other Southeast Asian country societies for these groups, but their ability to launch successful attacks is quite limited.
Well, George Martin there from AKE International, thank you for now.